Hello. Welcome to Season 10 of The Horrific Podcast. We're two friends who live in different places but share a love for scary movies. In each episode, we both watch the same movie on our own and then record a conversation together about what we liked, what we hated, if we were scared, and maybe even some larger truths about why people watch horror movies in the first place. This season, our theme is Because We Have the Microphone. And because we have the microphone, you will listen as we discuss a bunch of movies that we just kind of feel like watching with no rhyme or reason. Think of it as a collection of movies that we've referenced a lot in previous seasons or been curious about for a long time. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the episode. You know, it strikes me as odd that no one ever talks about The Front Country. Man, Leonardo DiCaprio looked very young. And granted, I had not seen The Revenant since it was in theaters, but I thought he was more like late period. That was a lame joke.
No, I was actually going to say, after you said that you watched it, I was like, okay, then we're good, because you know. Did you like The Revenant?
Well, I saw it in a theater. Oh, because I went with my dad, and I saw it in a theater that had like the upgraded surround sound system, and it was just a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Because I saw it in the winter, and then the scenes like in the forest and stuff, and it was the like extra wide theater too. So it was really this like crazy immersive experience, and that one did an awesome job of like all the scenes in the forest, and you've got like birds like in the back left of the theater is where the sound is coming from. It was a cool experience. I don't think I'd like it if I just watched it at home though, on a normal size TV.
See, I loved it. It was just like, that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah. For sure.
So it was like,
yeah, that's right up your alley.
So like, but I didn't watch it until like earlier this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I also don't like long movies. So yeah. I mean, it was definitely a gamble. But yeah. So I loved it.
Nice. So then, this was like budget Canadian Revenant. Mm-hmm. So was it enough like it that you enjoyed it?
No, it definitely wasn't anything close to it. Okay. But it wasn't bad.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, for me, it had some ups and downs. I had never heard of it again until I was going through lists of like most disturbing horror movies. And I want to come back to that, but I will introduce it, then you can do your fun facts, and then we will get into the grisly details.
Yeah, okay.
Got him.
Yeah, you did. Hey, right here.
In 2014, IFC Midnight brought us Backcountry, a survival drama horror based on a series of real events that happened at Mississauga Lake Provincial Park in Ontario, Canada in 2005. It tells the story of a couple who go on a romantic camping trip and find nothing but trouble along the way. It originally premiered at the Toronto Film Festival before a theater run in both Canada and the United States. Despite generally positive reviews from critics, it only made about $72,000 at the box office. It can currently be rented for streaming on Amazon Prime Video. What did you learn about this movie?
So this is technically based. This is technically based on a true story of Jacqueline Perry and Mark Jordan, who in 2005 were attacked by a bear at a campsite at Mississauga Lake Provincial Park, about 80 kilometers north of Chapleau, Ontario. This is also, fun fact, the second time I recorded this, and I messed up the exact same words this time as I did last time. I don't learn from things. So the difference. I did not realize
you spoke Canadian, my friend.
I did, yeah. So the difference between the real story and this one is that it's actually the boyfriend who survives while the girlfriend is killed by a bear. And I think Mark Jordan has some sort of hero status or something in Canada for surviving what he went through. Other than that, this is the feature directorial debut of Adam McDonald, and it was shot in only 16 days. Those are my facts for this film.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So there were two scenes towards the beginning of this one that I feel like set the stage for my expectations about it.
Yeah.
Scene number one is it started with a young couple in a car driving out of the city. And I felt like that was very much a missed opportunity for like that classic horror movie overhead shot of a car driving out into the forest to build that sense of isolation.
Oh, yeah.
And what I took away from that was that this was going to be more of a rent another car budget type of movie and not rent a helicopter budget type of movie.
Yeah. That's a very solid point.
The other one was, as a married man, I can tell you something.
Oh.
The way that the girl was wearing a long sleeve shirt and a vest jacket as they were hiking.
Yeah.
Means that it was cool enough out, which means that the water was cold enough that there would have been a 0% chance in hell that she would have even entertained the idea of going for a swim.
That's a good point.
That is the most unrealistic nonsense I've ever seen on film.
Yeah, there was a lot of on the edge, like it was about to cross the line of like forceful, like you're gonna get in the water with me.
Yeah.
It was just like he had a nag. And here's the other thing too, you could tell that they weren't married, because if that were, I feel like either one of our relationships or in our marriage, we'd just be like, okay, we'll just go by ourselves. Like, don't come. You know, like,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah. And if she wasn't still like trying to impress him, like if they were, she'd already trapped him, then she wouldn't even have entertained the idea. So
right, yeah, that's true. And you know, the other thing with this film, I just want to start off with this, that this is one of the more predictable films that I think I've seen in quite a while. So my struggle with the film, it's not necessarily content or like having to hear those terrible Canadian accents the whole time. Just kidding. I don't have any beef with that.
What do you mean, eh?
But it was just like everything.
I mean, we can't. Not all accents can be as charming as the Australian accent.
I'm just saying, man.
But go on.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You start getting Canadians in there. Oh my gosh. Ugh. But it was just seemed predictable. I mean, it seemed like anything that came up wasn't even hidden that it will come up. Like when they were talking about the bear spray. Well, that's kind of obvious. Or the flares. You know, even Brad showing up to the campsite. You know, just, I don't know. It was just all too predictable. Not taking the map. Just, it was literally like, I felt like this was maybe a movie that they show, and I don't know this because, you know, I'm born in the United States, thank the Lord, and we wouldn't have to watch, but maybe this is like a movie that they would play to kids to like show like, hey, this is why you always take a map when you're going camping somewhere. Like, there's no point in not taking a map. Like, there was no harm in doing that, but because he said no, you knew they were getting lost, and you knew that it was going to hurt them.
Yeah.
And that was like the first, like 10, 15 minutes of the film? Like,
well, what's really weird to me is now that you gave your fact about how it was the guy that survived and not the girl, I'm wondering how much of the roles were reversed. Like, was she the one that was like the super hardcore outdoors person that didn't let him take a map and stuff? Because otherwise he just kind of was not much of a hero.
Yeah.
It's like, I put us in this wildly dangerous situation and then my girlfriend died. That's no hero.
Right. That's true. That's a very good point. That would that be like manslaughter or like murder?
Right? Yeah, like criminal negligence at least.
Well, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, it was just kind of a weird movie. It did have some very, very graphic parts.
Yeah.
Which, you know, a lot of times it is like good for a horror movie. It kind of keeps that intensity and that shock factor, like, you know, really gives you that sense of danger. It just kind of like, it's almost like a biological response of like, oh, that gory thing looks convincing, so something terrible's happening. So like now I'm on like a sense of alert because terrible things might happen to me now. And I thought the special effects in general were pretty good. Like, they were never, because it had some pretty ambitious shots, like when the bear is tearing apart Alex.
Yeah.
That was gnarly. But it was never so bad that, like, it distracted me or took me out of the scene at all. Like, it all felt pretty convincing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, so, with this one, like, it was shot in the wilderness. I think, I would assume in Canada, or wherever it was shot, like, it was beautiful country. Like I just, as someone who enjoys looking at that stuff, I guess not nearly being in it as much, being that we're in Oklahoma and it's, 10,000 degrees every day. It's not nearly as fun to be outside, but like just seeing it, I was almost envious. I was like, man, I would love to take a canoe trip where I could then hike and then, like that's the dream. And even with the bears, it's whatever, you could deal with that. Just, sacrifice your spouse. It's not that hard. So that was all beautiful. For me, it was just getting lost in like the predictability of it. And then also like just seeing like, I felt like they were just doing things that just to make the viewer frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, are you sure you don't want to go this, or like, which way are we going? And he selects the path. They're up a crossroad. He selects the path that's obviously not a real path. And it's like, and she's just like went along with it. And you're like, but that's when you, like, if anyone is ever in that situation, stand up for yourself and just go the other way that you can clearly tell is the right route to go. Like, it was just maddening. Like, it almost made me, made me mad.
There were a lot of parts of this movie that I feel like just didn't land. I feel like there was basically no chemistry between the two of them. So a lot of the stuff that was meant to be like, oh, you're showing how much they care about each other, so you're supposed to care about them too, or like you're building a relationship with the characters, just didn't really land.
Yeah.
And so, like, the scene where they're fighting, that she's like, why did we come here? This was a mistake. You're a loser. Why did we even come here? And he's like, I was going to propose to you. I laughed out loud.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost like a dark, like The Office type comedy line at that point. And that was 1000% not the way it was meant to come across, And so I feel like a lot of the movie sort of fit into that, where it was, it worked well when it was in the midst of her trying to get away from the bear or the bear attacking them. But most of the stuff outside of that was not really compelling to me. And so the movie just ended up feeling much longer than it needed to be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and this is also, like, the struggle with this film is the struggle I have with a lot of these real-life creature films where it's like, I'm sure Oklahoma has some bears, but, I don't know if I'm ever in a situation where I have to worry about it. And so it took it away a little bit from me, just trying to put myself, I always try to put myself in the shoes. However, I can see how this would be a horror film. So this kind of does hit the basis of, like, you're stuck in a situation you can't get out of. You have a predator, some sort of predator attack, right. So like it does,
unstoppable force
right
after you.
That you have, no real power over. Realistically, you can't outrun it. Just for the record, it's not true bears can run just as fast downhill as uphill. I just like to let everyone know. And also when, my wife was quizzing me on my knowledge of, survival, I guessed the bear's, speed, to 1 mile per hour faster. So I guess 36 and supposedly it's 35. Polar bears are 25 just for the record. But, you can't outrun them, but it's still, you're stuck in that situation and you're dealing with the loss of someone. But, it was just kind of confusing. It was almost like they threw in the Brad character also just to try to make it seem like it could be like him that's, going to attack too. Cause like he does have that little blow up session at the end.
Yeah.
Where he's like, what's weird about it? Or what, whatever it was, and it's like
that whole thing was super uncomfortable. Yeah, it's like, and awkward.
It's like, what do you mean? What's strange about this? Like, you're in the middle of nowhere, and you walked up, and you're talking to this lady. Like, yeah, any I feel like any person would naturally
What's
be
the
like
misunderstanding.
Yeah, it's like you're a stranger and you're talking to my girlfriend in the woods, and you got this big old knife. You're like, yeah, that's the misunderstanding, and obviously it doesn't sound like a misunderstanding anymore. It sounds like you are a crazy person.
Yeah.
I mean,
also, public service announcement: if you have an open wound, don't put it into a creek.
Yeah.
Like, running water is definitely safer than standing water, but either way, like, just don't trust it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no quicker way to get an infection in there.
That's true. She didn't know how long she'd be out there for. She could have been out there way too long. Got the infection, died, dysentery.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, the other thing, too, if you're out in the... and you don't have water access, and the only option you have is unhealthy, water that could make you sick. Yep. Drink the water. Chances are you'll be found before you die from dysentery. Just want to let you guys know. That's from Cody Lundine's book that I read.
Interesting.
Yeah. I didn't think that this was the greatest horror film, and the acting was rough, but it wasn't like I hated it. Like, it was predictable, but I think that I'm picking this stuff up because we're doing it for the podcast. Mm-hmm. I think at the end of the day, this is not a crazy amount of difference between like the one that has Anthony Hopkins and I don't remember what it's called now.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, it's not too different from like other bear survival films or anything, but it was all right. Like, it was just, the audio was weird, but there was also scenes where like there was no sound at all, and like they were walking through the woods, and you're just like, it was okay in some parts, and other parts it was like, this is just kind of like, I'm getting lost here.
It almost feels incomplete. Mm-hmm. There's not really anything there to like support what the mood of the scene is supposed to be, and it definitely was oscillating between like the awkwardness of that guy and then like them being excited to be out there together, and then like the pending sense of danger, and a lot of times there was just no music to like help sell the feeling of the scene, which made it not feel as complete of an experience as it should be with a movie that can use sound. So talking about it being quiet though, the soundtrack included the song Memorial by Bring Me the Horizon. And that was really weird for me because it started playing, and this is while they're kind of walking like into the woods in the beginning before anything bad has happened. And it's like really kind of ambient sounding music. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what is this song? I definitely know it. Like, I know, but I like know it well. Like, I know the next time the guitar is going to come back in, like the little kind of sparse guitar notes. And I'm like, it was almost a little bit Explosions in the Sky, but I knew it wasn't them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, but I know the song really well. So I had to go back and Shazam it just because it was bothering me. And then I realized it was Memorial. And that's the only quiet song on the album. There Is a Hell, Believe Me, I've Seen It. There Is a Heaven, Let's Keep It a Secret. And I can't hang with any of Bring Me the Horizon's newer stuff. Mm-hmm. But that album is an all-timer for me on the heavier end of my taste.
Yeah.
And that made me really happy. But it also kind of blew my mind a little bit, because that song doesn't sound anything like the rest of the album. But the contrast between that song being like really kind of like peaceful and low-key and smooth is such a huge contrast to the rest of the album. Mm-hmm. Because it's just sheer chaos and like very like fast-paced, very loud, very screamy, straight ahead. And I almost wondered if it was like a meta thing where they like used a song that was the quiet song in contrast to the rest of the chaos on the album for the beginning scene in the movie when things were really calm before the rest of the chaos of the movie. But I feel like that also may be giving them way too much credit.
Well, I want to believe that they did that on purpose, so I'm going to stick with it.
We found our sparks.
But we both know that's not the case.
Disagree this week.
I know. You just hope there's some kind of real light at the end of the tunnel for this.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, and then the other time that it really used music was at the ending when she was getting out, and it was like that really inspirational music as she makes it to the boat and then back to the parking lot, and then the tour group finds her. And I guess, I don't know, that's kind of like the anti-horror ending on the one hand. But on the other hand, it is similar like to the ending of maybe Hush. So I guess I can't hate on it too much.
That's true, yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think I was pretty done with this one by the time it was over.
Yeah, I was definitely worn out just from like, you know, trying to not like fast forward during like the slow parts.
Yeah, it was longer than it needed to be.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then like, you know, making like point to show that she was wearing the wedding ring. Like, obviously, she wasn't feeling that from the get-go, you know?
Yeah,
and
right.
so it's like, what's changed? He's just been hurt. So that's why you like him. It was just like frustration, but at the same time, you know, I didn't hate myself after watching it. Maybe because, like, maybe it's because this wasn't, I don't know if it's even considered like a horror film. Like, for me, like, it's, you know, more of a survival kind of film. I don't know, survival horror, maybe is something we call it. I was in the same boat with Jaws, too, though, you know. But maybe that's why. But it was just like, this is okay. You know, and I hate talking about acting because I am not one. I'm not an actor. But it was rough. Like, even watching them, like, react to, like, things that are being said was either like super over dramatic or like not at all. Like, it was just like using eyes, and it just threw me. It was really the guy who played Alex who was like throwing me off the most. But yeah, it was just interesting. I'm glad we watched it though.
Yeah, I feel like they threw in the love story to like really drive home the sense of loss and panic and stuff. But since that wasn't pulled off well, it just kind of didn't really add anything other than slowing the pace.
Yeah.
And that kind of hurt it as a horror movie, in my opinion. But,
yeah,
you know, like I said, it was pretty good special effects. It definitely will make you think twice about camping in the backwoods or frontwoods without the proper equipment. So,
yeah,
take a rifle.
I also felt like the girl in this film, I felt like she was like Canada's like version of Hilary Swank. Did I say that right? Hilary Swank?
Probably. I've heard that name. I couldn't tell you what she's in or what she looks like or anything.
I'll send you a picture of her. I'm pretty sure that's just Canada's version of Hilary Swank. I think it's also pronounced Swank. That's all I got for this film, though.
Hard-hitting analysis. I love it.
It was like kind of an insult, but then I was like, Hilary Swank could actually be from Canada for all I know. I think she's from like Nebraska or something. Anyway, yeah, this one was just right down the middle. Didn't hate it, didn't love it. But if you're ever in the woods, take a map with you. Take something where you can. Basically, it's a seize. So you take a container for water cooking. You take a cutting tool. You take clothes. I don't know. It's like 5 C's for survival. Cody Lundeen. Get the book. It's like 98.7 or something is what it's called. Get the book. It's really good if you're curious about survival.
You want to hear something that'll blow your mind?
Yeah.
I own that book.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Did you buy it for me?
No.
Huh.
I mean, yes.
Yeah. I would have believed it. I would have gone with it. Yeah, it's really good though. Like it you know, talks about facts. So, you know, just be prepared if you go out there. You know, bear spray does actually work. Don't pay attention to the film. But here's the thing, it also does work on humans. So if you spray it in a tent, you will be coughing your lungs out too.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Yeah. And then next thing you know, you'll be watching your boyfriend, fiance, at that point, die a brutal death. Just
or girlfriend if it's real life.
That's true. Either one.
It's not fun either way.
And that's it for today's episode. If you've listened this far, then thank you, and we hope you've enjoyed it.
We're always looking for new ideas, so if you have any questions, comments, or movie suggestions, please send us an email at thehorrificpod@gmail.com, or feel free to comment on or message our Facebook page. Just search for The Horrific Podcast. Thanks for listening.